Hello, my friends, and welcome to Cathy Chat. I absolutely love being able to share the companies, the businesses, the lives of the dynamic people I get to meet when I'm networking. I network a lot, and so does this lady. You have a chance right now to meet the House Whisperer. Adele Bernard, welcome to Cathy Chat.
Thank you, Cathy, for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
I'm thrilled to have you as well. There might be someone left on the planet who hasn't met you yet. And so I would love, love, love for people to find out a little bit more about you and certainly your dynamic company. Take it away.
Okay, so I'll just start with a little background.
Uh-huh.
So, my name is Adele Bernard from TransitionClarity. I'm a transition mentor, and I'm also nicknamed the House Whisperer, thanks to Cathy. So, and I also have a podcast called Authentic Conversations with Adele. So, a little bit on what I do is I'm all about walking you home to you. And what that means is whether it's your physical home or your body, it's about looking at the belief systems, the um, conditionings, and the untruths that you've been told your whole life that you think are yours, and they're not. And
What's
it's
an
about
example of an untruth?
um, that if you eat that, you'll get fat.
Okay.
It's the body shaming, right? Like that we get told at 5 or between 5 and 10 years old that we keep
Okay.
till we're 60. So, and I'm all about shining that light on, finding your inner gifts to bring you home to who you truly are, not who society told you you are. So,
Wow. What was the I guess you would call it what is the catalyst that actually caused you to think that this would be a dynamic business for you so that you could help other people? What was the catalyst for that?
well, I don't know any different. I've been doing this since I was 3. I've been helping people around the world with their homes, clearing out what's stuck in the walls. Like you think you have a little argument with your husband or your partner, whatever, and that energy gets stuck in the walls. Or you invite someone to dinner and you're like, what's going on? Like something's weird. It was a great night, but they left their bad day in your couch. So the difference is like feng shui looks at where the placement of your furniture is. I don't care where your furniture is. I care who's left their imprint in your home. And even a different way of saying it too is like people go, oh, well, I'll just smudge and get the energy clear. Do you know how many windows have shattered because they don't open the window before they start smudging?
Hold on a second. What does smudging mean?
So smudging is like using sage or sweetgrass or some of the native traditions of combinations of smudge. Like it's just, burning grasses to clear the spirit or the energy of a home. And yeah, it's like, did you open a window? No. Well, that's why it cracked. That's why it shattered because the spirit is leaving. The bad JoJo is leaving, but you didn't give it a door or an exit spot. So it smashes through wherever it can.
How does someone know if they have stuff like just like you mentioned a fight with your person or your partner or your whoever,
Mhm.
if all of a sudden that's in there or someone comes to visit and they were not positive energy, how does someone know that?
Um, Everyone has a little bit all the time. You can tell by if you're in a good mood. Like grocery stores are notorious, right? I'm sorry. Like
Are you
I
saying there might be bad stuff in a grocery store? Come on.
it's like, oh my lord. Um, but it's just like, the outside, the sun is shining, everything's good, and all of a sudden for no reason your energy starts tanking and you're like, what is happening? Or you just don't want to get out of bed. And that's not you. You're a person, 6 a.m., let's go. I got the day to go. And you're just like, I think I'll just lay here for 20 minutes. Something is going on. Something has shifted in your energy that is affecting the outside energy. And I want to make sure the listeners know this has nothing to do with negative. It's just we're busy people in a busy world, and it could just be too many toxins by sitting in traffic. Your body is trying to figure out how to eliminate the toxins in the safest, best way for you.
And
Does that
sometimes you actually have a body ailment that you know is happening, and that could be from the energy you're talking about.
absolutely. I call it a sick house. Is your house sick? Is your animal showing you that there's something going on in your house that you're not aware of? Animals are incredibly intuitive and they guide us all the way, but we don't see it. Like, and that's how I also started getting into animal communication because I was like, what's your animal saying about your house? Well, they don't have anything to say. I'm like, really? They do. If your animal stops eating, what's the energy in your home? They're picking it up before you're realizing something's going on.
And
So,
sometimes I have had cats in my personal house forever.
mhm.
One lived for 14 years and the other was almost 20 years. And so I know that when the kids were growing up, if either of them was ill, the cat would go to that person and just sit on their bed, just be there. And you could just tell that the cat knew that the kids weren't well,
Yep.
cold or whatever that was going on, and you could tell that they weren't feeling their best, and so it's almost like the cat took care of them, so to speak. And
Yeah.
it really is an amazing thing that and plus when someone would walk in, sometimes they were both girls, she would walk up and be friendly and fun. Other times it would be one of those hissing things and hit the road. And it was always interesting to me because I of course was aware that apparently she doesn't like you, and so I was aware of that, but I don't think the person would know. If people don't have an animal, a pet in their home, what are some clues or things that we could recognize if we don't have a pet in our actual house?
Well, it's even like, say you're going to have someone over for coffee
Huh?
and you wake up that morning going, I can't do it. Like your stomach is saying, I can't meet today. Honor that and say, I'm really sorry, but can we rebook? It's not that the person, you or what, it's just something is saying this person can't come in your home today, whether it's you or them, it doesn't matter. Honor your gut and say, can we reschedule? I'm really sorry on the late notice because somewhere spirit is saying to you, either you or them, this connection isn't a good connection today. And that,
Wow.
and I remember even when I was working in corporate and like I had this commander boss, right? And I used to say, "Oh my God, what you can't go to that meeting in that shirt." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I actually knew his wife. And so I phoned her and I said, "Can you send him to work with like this shirt, this shirt, this shirt? Why? I need them to stay in the office." Right. And he goes, she's like, okay. And then he goes, why'd you make my wife send me to work with shirts? I go, because when you're going to go to the VPs and try pitch a $10 million project, you're not wearing red. I'm sorry. Right. That means you're screaming to the VPs to try get $10 million. How do you think it's going to work for you? It's not. There's a whole psychology on what to wear, what not to wear, when to wear it. Like, right? And even in my daily workings, I wake up, I get out of the shower, and I look at my closet. Who do I feel like today? And that's what I wear. Some days I'm not sure what I feel like, so I'll put black on because black has every color. White has every color. But if I feel blue and I have to do a lot of communication, blue's coming on, right?
Now you have gone from knowing that you were doing this since you were 3 years old,
Mhm.
and you just mentioned corporate, and you and I met on Zoom virtually networking. So, where did that transition happen to
For
turn
me,
your right
um,
your
so
corporate job and realizing that you could actually help people as a business? How where did that segue come in?
so I always worked corporate as a contractor because I knew I couldn't handle the energy full time. And so I'd take a year contract, 2-year contract, then I'd go and take off for a month. In the
Ah,
corporate job, in most office buildings, they have what they have as talk rooms, right? So if you have to do that private conversation, make that private phone call, you go to the talk room, you have privacy. So I kept on getting called into the private rooms. I would hold space for book clubs and conversations in the boardrooms for lunch hour, right? If you have stuff going on, let's, have a circle per se. Um, and I when I finally left oil and gas, um, I kind of made the joke of if they actually paid me for the talk room talks and all the help I made, I'd be a multimillionaire. But they only paid me for my job. So, but yeah, like I had many clients through corporate that were just like, I'm gonna kill my kid, or I don't know what to do with my husband, or I think I'm gonna leave this job. And we go to the talk room or we go for lunch. And then so just to back it up a bit, when I started working with homes, this is pre-internet.
oh wow.
So you had to know who I was and my address because I would get snail mail letters. You're my last hope. My house is caving in. I don't know what to do with a check. I would do the work, send the report, cash the check. Sometimes I heard from them, sometimes I didn't. It's all trust. And so people say, how did I start this? I started this because this is my gift from God. As long as I am aligned with the essence of God, the higher power, not the church, God, I can help anyone
And so
when
with you
they're
are
ready.
I was just going to say that. How do people know they need you? And you just said when they are ready. That was my question because just like I said, how can you tell somebody left something in your house
Mhm.
negative or that you can feel? How do people know that they need you? And now that you're on the internet all over the place, congratulations on your social media success, by the
Thank
way.
you.
How do they know they need you? Because now they're going to be you're able to help them virtually, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Well, and even my I've actually um caught on to this was I help people so fast that they don't have to pay for it. That I'm like, "Oh, crap, slow me down," because spirit's running. So I don't know that I've helped you clear through something that you actually haven't even asked the question for. I've just cleared it. And so I'll give you 2 examples. So one, I was doing a house clearing for a person in Calgary where I live. And there's this one part of the living room of her marital home that wouldn't release. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I looked at her and I go, what happened to you when you were 3? And she goes, well, I don't know. And then she goes, well, mom's around. I'll phone mom. So she phones her mom and her mom goes, oh, nothing. Like he just, like a kid wiped out, did whatever. She now knows about the incident. It released in her marital home. And I went, cool. 2 weeks later, she phones me and she goes, I don't know what the heck you did, but I don't have hip pain. I said, you had hip pain? And she goes, oh, I didn't know I had hip pain until you cleared it. I don't have hip pain. She was a marathon runner who had hip pain since she's 3 years old. Didn't know. Also, the the whole energy thing is, oh, kids are a prime example. Night terrors. They're not night terrors. They're spirit of people they think, like, say Like your kids are waking up having night terrors. They don't know who your grandparents were. There's too many generations. But you start going through a photo album in the morning and they go, that's who comes to visit me. It's your grandmother. Your child doesn't know them because you barely knew your grandmother. They're not going to know them. And then once you say, Grandma, Johnny has to sleep. He needs his nighttime sleep, but you can come in the day and we'll discuss it and we'll talk about you. The kid won't have night terrors.
You mentioned about your person who had hip pain, and I'm intrigued just from the holistic healing aspect. If someone has an actual, I always hate to call it a disease, I don't like to give it that much credit, but a
No, but it's
condition.
a dis-ease.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Yes. And that's,
dis-ease. So what
yes,
is causing that dis-ease? Like take frozen
correct.
shoulder. People say it's a tennis thing. It's a I played too much golf. No, it's the emotion of when you hit the ball that got stuck. Figure out the emotion, you won't have any disease.
And so does that happen? I don't give it the big C as people call it, but does that work in the little c also?
Yeah. All
So
dis-ease is emotion.
you have been able to have success with the dis-ease, even with the little c.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well,
And so,
my mom's a prime example.
okay.
24 years ago, she got the diagnosis of breast cancer, stage 4, fully all
Okay.
in lymph nodes. And
Okay.
I'm like, hogwash. And she goes, what? And I go, hogwash. I did one treatment on her. And her doctor happened to be the research doctor. And he goes, I don't know what's going on with you, but go and have fun. 24 years ago, she tells all her friends I was the one that took it away. She did the chemo and she did all the radiation just to make sure, because that's where her mindset was. She didn't need to. And I'm not saying I'm a miracle worker. I'm saying get to the root of the dis-ease and and your life changes. Get to the presence. Forget the past, forget the future, get to the presence of where the light of God lives in you, because that's how we're all here, whether you believe it or not. Miracles happen, man.
I am a firm believer in that part, my friend. I can
I
tell
know.
you, I am definitely a firm believer in that. Now, before we say farewell, and I seriously mean it from a standpoint of intrigue, I would imagine that many of our listeners right now don't want you to stop talking. How can someone reach you? But then what happens? Like you said that you can do your work virtually
Mhm.
now. So
Always.
how does that connection piece work now?
So the same as always, book a one-on-one with me, or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Um,
I see
I'm
your
actually
QR codes right there, by the way. So good job on your QR codes.
thank you. Um, I also am in the process right now of building a walk you home circle. So it's a an entry point to kind of work with me if you're not ready to do the full house clear or the full 3-month package, or it's but I'm in the process of building that, and I'll keep you posted. But and also just follow me on my authentic conversations with Adele. Like it's all over the platforms except for Apple, but whatever. And yeah,
So wait a second. Your podcast is on your YouTube channel?
it's on my YouTube and platforms other than Apple.
Okay. And
So
I definitely appreciate that part as well. Now, just because I love international everything, I've without, I'm sorry about the pandemic, but without the pandemic, I would not have focused this largely on social media platforms as far as internet marketing and cyber. Where are your clients? Mostly Canada, mostly USA, mostly other hemispheres. Where are your clients predominantly?
all over the world.
Okay.
Like people
So there are
say,
zero limitations on your location.
yeah, like it's really funny. It's probably been 20 years since I've worked on anyone in my city.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
fine, right? I've that's why I was saying the people who found me, well, Johnny sent me, and I'm like, I never did figure out half of the people's 6 degrees of separation. I just take the check, cash it, give them, do the work. Like I'm like, I have no idea how you found me, but to be able to find me and get my address to send a letter, yeah, I find this time really hard. Like the social media, you get stuck in the social media,
Yeah, that's probably true.
right? And
Well,
so
oh my gosh.
so somebody helped me just the other day about saying, because I said, "Oh my God, I'm going to the weeds again with all this tech stuff," and she goes, "Perfect, beautiful," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "You're going into your feminine, into the ground, so all the flowers can come up." I'm like, "I like your reframe. Thank you very much." Right?
That was a good way to turn that cyber around when it gets into the
Yeah.
technical needs. I love
Especially
that.
for women, it's you're going into the grounding of what you're trying to manifest so the flowers can come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Adele, I first of all, thank you for saying yes to Kathy Chat. That's my big
Oh,
thank
it
you.
was my pleasure.
But I would love to know, just in a short second or two that we have left, what is something that we actually haven't addressed yet that you would like our listeners to know that we didn't talk about yet?
That the beliefs, the conditionings, and the untruths are so deep and so prevalent, you really don't know that they're running your life.
Wow.
I'll give you a quick example because we're women of that age. Menopause is an illusion. Where it's an illusion. And I've had doctor after doctor after doctor saying, we don't have to do this. And if you don't think that's 100 years of programming, I don't know what. Like, I'm not even saying the last 4 years. I'm saying hundreds of years of programming because animals don't have it. Why do humans? So,
That is quite a message and a beautiful, honestly, beautiful way to end this because I feel that this will allow people who watch this recording to have an additional reason to contact you. And that's the
mhm.
part that I love so much. I really can't thank you enough for opening so many eyes, not only on this live recording, but definitely on people who will watch the replay. I thank you so much for being on Kathy Chat.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us today on Kathy Chat. Hopefully, Adele opened your eyes to some of the dynamic things she's able to help people across the globe with as the House Whisperer. Transition Clarity, oh my gosh. And please always connect with her on LinkedIn, certainly transitionclarity at gmail.com. And you too can actually have a consultation with Adele Bernard, the House Whisperer. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Cathy.
Bye for now.